They say, where you from? I say the 510. They ask me, do I keep it Ivy? And I say, yeah, for sure. I keep it real for sure. What? Baby, you already know. I ain't got no time, so please don't hit my line. I got that Titan pride. We from Skyline.
I'm Saric. I'm a student at Skyline, and this is Couch Hooligans. And today we have Mr. Shapiro, a teacher at Skyline and a great pillar in the community. And today I have some questions for you.
For sure.
So I met you at King's, and I heard that you had like a background in music a little bit, and that did you used to be in a band?
I was in a group once upon a time. I did a lot more as an audio engineer in a studio for a long time. But, you know, everybody runs a studio has their own little bit of music they do.
I was wondering if your experience in music has any way like translated into boxing, because I know rhythm is a big part of like boxing.
Yeah, I think that rhythm is something I wouldn't have got to right away. For me, it was a lot about community. You know, both music and the studio was a space where we would get together and all my partners would come and that was our clubhouse. That's where we did our stuff. And the boxing gym has kind of always been the same place for me. You know, like you can go work out at a lot of places, and then like King's has the best equipment.
Yeah.
Right. You know, kind of stinks in there and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the people. You go to places because that's the places where you connect with people and you build something. Like, and for me, I'm always just looking for places to build community.
Yeah.
Music was a great avenue for that, the same way boxing was, and that's kind of why I always use it as ways to mentor people too.
Yeah. How old were you when you first started getting into music?
I mean, you know, like I was an avid listener, you know,
right.
from the CD era, so I was a crate digger back in the day. But really started trying to make it in high school. I started writing, you know, in high school. You try to get your stuff together. And then when I came back down to Oakland, when I was at Laney, they had a class, and I got my first set of student loans, and I ended up just buying a whole studio equipment. And I had just connected with some cats who were doing a lot of work, and I just kind of got connected with some good people. So we started cranking out the music. But yeah.
What were your big like inspirations in the music field, like growing up?
Like who did I listen to?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, it's a trip. Of course, it's the rappers. You know, I was a Bay cat, so it's like it was always about everybody. I would try to soak up first started with all Oakland rappers, so it was like you gotta be up on Saric, you gotta be on Scar, you gotta be up on these different town rappers. But then it started being the whole Bay, and then it became California. And then once you really get into listening to rap music, you know, like I'm saying, because I was always a UG40 fan. I was always, there was a lot of rappers that were like my favorite. Richie Rich is one of my favorite rappers. But it started when you really you start listening to producers. You start listening to like, oh, this producer took this, and what did he do? And it's a sample. And then you start going back to the samples, and you find yourself I spent my whole 20s listening to the oldies. Like you started listening to all the stuff that was the samples, and you just want to be able to connect them. And so it's a trip how that journey goes.
Yeah.
I started out just writing lyrics because I wanted to be the talent. Then you start listening to the music, and you're like, damn, how do I make beats like that? And then you start listening to people who made the original music, like, how do I make not just a sample, but how do I make something that somebody would want to sample?
Yeah.
You know, so that was kind of how it progressed for me. And then it just started being about how to get other people on. You know, by the time I was an adult, I just wanted to see other people getting on.
Yeah. So you were like just making the assists and stuff, like trying to help other people like come up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, it's like I think we all start out wanting to get into something because we have a dream of our own talent, a vision of how I want to be great. And then you start doing stuff, and I think you know, like I said, it's like the same with boxing. It's the same way. I was always goal was to try to get in there and fight somebody and beat somebody up and get my win, right? And eventually you might be like, but maybe I'm better just training people on how to get them ready to do the thing.
Yeah.
And I get more from that on a day-to-day basis than I was trying to get myself ready, because every time I was getting in there, I was getting smacked. So.
Yeah. Have you been paying attention to any like recent boxing like stuff lately?
You know, I keep up.
Yeah.
I watch.
How do you feel about like Floyd Mayweather's impact on like the culture and like the boxing as a whole? Like,
the culture of boxing?
Yeah, basically.
I mean, you know, I think Floyd Mayweather's done huge things in the biggest aspect about like, you know, same way like NBA basketball has gotten so offensive driven, right? I came up near Mike Tyson. We like to watch people get knocked out. We like to see people like, it was all about the big explosive punches and stuff like that. And something you got to respect about Floyd Mayweather, and the way you think about the game, and even the way he went about it economically, it's about being smarter. It's about how do you do something and do it within where you impose your will on them and they can't impose it on you. And I think more boxers, when you're trying to talk about the purity of the sport and trying to get people up on how to box, need to understand that style of fighting.
Yeah.
I can stand right in front of somebody way bigger than me, way stronger, way way harder hitter, and they couldn't do nothing to me because I know how to. And that's what boxing is to me.
Yeah.
And so, reinforcing those values of boxing. And then, from a cultural standpoint, boxing, the reason people always thought it was one of the most crooked things, and the same as the music industry, is it's always been gatekeepers, promoters, record label people who kind of control the access to doing stuff. And one thing Floyd Mayweather showed is that, once you get yourself on, you were in a position to control that and to run it in a different way. And it's not a coincidence that the dude who broke the model is also the dude who's the richest cat ever to do it. And so I think that is definitely, kind of like the same way Steph Curry makes everybody think they can shoot a three-pointer is a bad thing, but it's also at least kind of thinking about the game in a different way.
Yeah.
So,
it also kind of reminds me of that, like with the Philly shell, everybody wants to try that, and then they get clipped because they're not, they're just not, you're not him. But
the Philly shell, you're right, it's not something everybody can do, but even just thinking about that's the style I'm going to try to do. God bless him, you're right. Andre Berto got beat up trying to do the same stuff, so did Broner. A lot of cats did not do well trying to just act like they can stand right in front. But it's something that they thought about doing that instead of just trying to just come out swinging.
One thing though that I have noticed about Mayweather is the emphasis on the O in his career. I think has really like inspired a lot of the younger guys where they don't want to pick fights up anymore because they're scared of losing the O. So, and I think that's like kind of prevented from a lot of mega fights happening. Like obviously Ryan Garcia and like Tank are about to fight, but like that's really rare, it seems like, nowadays in boxing.
And like I think that Floyd gets a lot of that flack about, because everybody goes back to the Pac-Man thing, right? This whole situation of politics getting in the way of things. And then one thing people always lose track of, and this is something that other sports, they're leagues. Boxing is all about, it's a business just like everything else. What puts everything on is that people want to see people fight, and the hype and all the stuff that goes behind it. All the reason these fights are super fights is the millions and millions of dollars that go into them. It's not just the talent. Because there's two guys in a barn that might be able to duke it out better than Mayweather back potentially, but it wouldn't be that big of a deal because it's not this high stakes thing. And so, I don't think that he's necessarily pushed that whole thing about just that if you're not undefeated, your career's over, or that'll ruin everything. But it is about that he has made it about that if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. That maybe isn't great for sports or purity of art or anything like that. That ain't great for music. That might not be great for a lot of things. But I'm not going to get into a whole speech about capitalism, but that's just the world we in here. Everything that gets done out here gets done because it makes money a lot of the time. Floyd Mayweather is showing people that there is a pathway to put on, and putting on people. Tank is on because Floyd put him on. And there's a lot of people who got that money that's spread out to where, Floyd has got all kinds of things. I could say bad things about Floyd Mayweather. I would never stand for him as a man, but as somebody who's trying to set an example in a very specific area, I don't think it's as negative as it gets pushed out about. He's the reason super fights aren't happening. Boxing promoters have been stopping fights. There's a reason Mike Tyson never fought, like that Lennox Lewis never fought Riddick Bowe, or that Mike Tyson never got to fight. Like all these different people. It's like all these fights that never happened, and they've been happening for 40 years, long before Floyd Mayweather, when his dad was fighting. And so, just because he's gotten to be so big, I think it's more just to show that he's the next icon. Post Mike Tyson, this is the first icon we've had. And Floyd Mayweather was an interesting cat because he's also this dude, and him and Mike Tyson have that in common. Cats who didn't go to school, didn't get a lot of other experiences in life. So the fact that he is this successful with that limited amount of stuff, and it ain't just because he throws his hands. It is that all that other stuff he does. And you gotta lean on that. The fact that there is something to respect in people who learn skills, they learn in the traditional ways, and just had to figure out how to play the game while they was in it. Respect that.
Yeah, me too. I really admire him because of the adjustments he's made in his career. Because Pretty Boy Floyd was like a completely different fighter than Money Mayweather. But I can appreciate the fact that he used his head and he realized, my hands are breaking and stuff, and he changed his whole his whole career and basically changed so many other people's lives just because of a couple smart decisions he made.
Bringing up the hands is genius. So you're right though, because everybody wants to see a boxer knock people out. And Floyd used to knock people out. When he was a lightweight, Floyd used to rock fools. Right? But if your hands are breaking, and he's here to be in the game till he can make $500 million, he's actually thinking about, how do I box till I'm 40 years old and I can make the most money? I want to be as great as I can be. If I keep on knocking people out like this, my hands are going to be gone within another year. I'm going to have a 4-year career, and nobody's going to care about the fact that I'm gone. Nobody's going to protect that. That he made it the adjustment, and that all these people, like I said, if you watch Pretty Boy Floyd, then you know that there was two different versions. Floyd used to knock fools out all the time at lightweight. He knocked out one of my favorite fighters ever is Chico Corrales. And he beat the brakes off Diego Corrales. He beat up Arturo Gatti. So that part of it. And then the other side, I don't know if anybody, do you watch professional wrestling? Do you ever watch WWE?
Not really.
if you watch old school WWE, there's like this whole concept of the face, the good guy, and the heel.
Yeah.
Right? And that what Floyd Mayweather figured out, and a lot of wrestling already knew, that the bad guy is actually the easier one to get the most money.
Yeah.
Pretty Boy was a face. He was supposed to be a good guy.
Yeah.
Right? And selling that only got him so high. Right? It's when he became the bad guy, and the exciting style of punching people and knocking them out was not actually what got him all the big money.
Yeah.
It's the defensive style and being a jerk.
Yeah.
Got him all of his
Because
money.
everyone wants to see him lose. That's why they tune in.
But that's genius psychology about understanding the marketing of it. Like that the heel does better work. You know what I'm saying? That people love the heel, and so that more people are leaning into that now. It's actually better to have people think you're a jerk.
Yeah, I agree. It's happening in MMA with I don't know if you pay attention, but Colby Covington. Yeah, but I think we're gonna have to wrap it up pretty soon. But it was nice talking to you.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and this is Couch Hooligans with Eric Shapiro.
Boom.
Yeah.